Hello, everyone, and happy Wednesday if you're joining us live. This is a She Built This Live and Learn, and I'm here today with Catherine Morales. And I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. And I'm really excited about today's topic. We're going to be talking about the ins and outs of marketing and what that really is. If you are watching us live, just make sure that you put your name in the comments as well as your comment, because we can't see your names many times unless you've given StreamYard access, which I'm not going to explain because I'm not very good at explaining technical things. So put your name in the comments so that we know that you're joining us, and feel free to pipe in with any questions, comments. We love that. I'll make sure to be watching those so that Catherine doesn't have to worry about it. And without further ado, I would love for you, Catherine, to introduce who you are and a little bit more about your background and what you do.
Sure. Yeah, thank you so much for having me here, Emily. I call myself an authentic brand strategist, and my company is actually called Inflection Point Communications. It's a brand and marketing consultancy. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia, but really what I'm all about is helping entrepreneurs, coaches, and consultants to harness the power of authenticity, to market with greater harmony and heart, so that they can find who I call your right someones and actually make the impact that they desire to make with their business.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of harmony and wonderfulness. Okay, so why don't we just dive right in and talk about like what the difference is between inside versus outside marketing, because I don't think I've heard this phrase until I met you, and I imagine a lot of other folks haven't either.
Yeah, well, okay, so I'm going to start on the outside because that's where we see most marketing happening these days. And more commonly, it's referred to as outside in to show the way of communication. But basically, I like to put it in like layman's terms. Outside in marketing is you're the best. It's know thy customer. It is, what are their pain points? What is the situation that they're dealing with? And how are we going to meet those needs and wants, which is important to business, but it can't be the only piece of business. This is where, I think most every marketing thing you hear out there, content marketing, it's where all of it is happening now. The biggest example of this would be Amazon. And I don't know many companies that would be like, well, what's wrong with that? They're making like billions of dollars, so great. But the thing is, so Amazon delivers to the customers. They know, like, we'll get it there yesterday, right? But what you see is that, yes, you can make a lot of revenue, but the revenue is only one R that drives business. I say there's two other ones, reputation and relationships, which I know we're talking about today. It's the theme of this month, right? So on the inside at Amazon, they have trouble with their relationships. And you see that on TV, they are doing ads around, their employees. They're so happy. Look, we don't have a reputation problem with that. Mm-hmm. So it's not about just one side being, delivered to. It's about the whole picture. So on the flip side of that, inside marketing or inside out marketing is, I'm the best. And we see this, it's really putting a focus on what you deliver, whether product, service, or this is most common in the nonprofit industry. So, you kind of have to be that way as a nonprofit, but here's what's so great, the qualities that we deliver. And we believe that when we deliver those qualities to the market, the customer or the donor will value it. But neither of these situations is fully true. So, the truth is that businesses and customers need each other. So it absolutely has to be both inside and out. So I, believe that businesses and customers have equal value, and that there is this harmonious relationship and interconnectedness to the very nature of business. So what I teach and practice is in and out marketing, where both pieces have that equal value and importance to create the harmony between the two.
I love
this. It's going to be a recurring word.
I'm always talking about with my content clients, like finding out what your goals are and what your vision is for your business, and bridging that with what your customers' goals are and what their dreams are for themselves. So I love that. It's like coming at it from both angles and bringing in like this ecosystem in your business that meets those inner needs of everybody, and also reflects out those things for customers to be able to see. So
yeah, I like to say that in and out marketing is we're the best together.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I'm all about things together. So, okay, can we talk about, because you brought up this word authenticity, and I feel like it's a buzzword right now. So can we talk about, like, is it just a catchy buzzword? What does it really mean to you? How do you use it? Yeah. All the authentic things.
Well, I will say that when I first started calling myself an authentic brand strategist, authenticity was just barely a buzzword, but it's really blown up lately. I think, there's a lot of like, I don't want to say like authenticity washing, if you will, to that. Like, but so yes, I think some people are seeing it as a buzzword, but when I talk about it, I'm more aligned with, let's say, Brene Brown. I believe that authenticity is vulnerability. Authenticity is about being fully seen. It's not just your best parts. So much of marketing and branding is, putting your best, like, let's manufacture what we want people to see. Mm-hmm. There's actually, for years I've been talking about this, but when I first started introducing it, there's a sociologist named Goffman. And Goffman theory is all about self-presentation. And it's what we see, right? I want to put this out there on the surface, filter, whatever on social media. But what is really happening is backstage, and that's your thoughts, your beliefs. And so when we get to really the way I work on authenticity and authentic branding is what drives you? What are your passions and your purpose? And what do you believe? And what's your unique perspective? Because when we bring that to the surface, you sound entirely different than anyone else.
Yeah. And how can we highlight those things for like as an attraction factor for the people that we want to work with? Because we're all going to reach different people for different reasons. Like what makes one authentic person is not going to attract the same person as another authentic person. So
right.
Okay, how can we start like discovering who we are and how we can use this inside and outside marketing for ourselves? Like how do you talk about getting started on the journey to discovering us, I'll say?
Yeah, well, hopefully, I'd love for you to actually do this exercise. I have an exercise I recommend. There's, I say why you and only you, but the key word there is why. So basically, you ask yourself why I am, or you have a statement, why I am, and you fill in a word. So what would your word be as a brand or business?
Can you give me an example?
Sure. You could be like creative, curious, strategic.
Oh. Okay. Oh, that's okay. Why I'm very organized. So let's use why I am organized.
I love that. And I won't ask you to do this live, but like basically then you would list out some bullet points and some reasons to back that up. Obviously there's some thoughts behind it. But the next part of the exercise is you turn that question introspective and you turn it into an actual question. So you say, why am I organized? And what you start to really do, like I say, spend at least 10 minutes exploring it. We won't do that now, don't worry. So what it starts to do is it helps you to discover what lies within. So you might find that you think of a person, you might think of an experience, an accolade. It's a whole plethora of what comes up. But what this starts to get at is your authenticity, right? Like you're discovering the stories only you have. Like, yes, if you say organized, someone else can use that word. But when you bring story to it, that completely changes it. So 2 points to really illustrate and reflecting on this exercise. What we often see in marketing is the why I am, right? It's messaging. But it's your come from that really matters, right? So when we flip the question and say, why am I? And we begin within, we really start to get to how we can make the message sound different.
I like it. Nobody wants to hear the story of why I'm organized, though.
You're right. Someone might want to.
I'm organized because you all are not. No, I'm just kidding.
The truth comes out.
I'm just kidding. Okay, I really like that. So starting with, can you just like let's repeat it again. So starting with why I am.
The statement, why I am.
Yep. And then turning it back into a question, why am I?
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. And coming up with those stories, which is so fitting because we're actually reading Kendra Hall's book, Change Your Story, Change Your Life. And it's so funny that even with something like organization, all of those stories are going to pop into your head of how you became the way that you did and the
Oh
stories
yeah,
you have around that. So I
there's
love,
stories all around us. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a really full circle. Sounds fun. And so I've had the privilege of seeing, behind the scenes of somebody that you really helped to excavate some of those stories. And what comes up is so many stories that are like your origin story and your founder story and all of these things that probably you didn't even know existed inside of you.
You weren't
Um,
necessarily connecting the dots. Yeah.
yeah, and it really is like it is the why behind your business, but it is also what makes you unique and what it's going to make people attracted to you. So I
Yeah.
really I see that how you've done that.
Thank you.
And okay, so now let's talk about like, okay, I have this. How do I articulate it to my clients? Like, where do I start with actually showing these people this? Because maybe they don't want those stories of why I'm so organized.
Well, okay. So when I work with clients, I have a process of authentic brand discovery, which I'll focus on, and the story piece is actually I almost put the cart before the horse. Story piece comes second, and that's where we get to story mining, like you said, founder's story, your philosophy story, because I believe every business has at least one philosophy and point of view. But to begin articulating it, it's really about how I pull it into what I call authentic brand pillars, and it's the what, the how, and the why. So what happens is we get caught in the what. And when we get caught in the what, it's, I have so many years experience. I've worked with the big brands. I've, all my credentials. And those things matter, but it's like a checkbox, right? like, and the real reason that people are going to buy from you or even lean in, right? Like not even to the buying, the marketing is the attraction, right? The main reason is because of the how and the why. It's 70% of the purchase decision is emotional. So when you get to the how and the why, yes, it's in your stories too, but when we begin to articulate that and discover how you do what you do differently and why that's so special,
Yeah.
then that is what makes you sound entirely different than anyone else. I used to, I've worked with a number of different clients, and I love one of my clients. She's an accountant, and we were back before COVID. We were sitting down at a table and going over her authentic brand pillars. And I said, I often say, spend 5% of the time talking about your what, and spend 95% of the time talking about the how and why. And she literally writes 5% under that column and 47.5 on each side. I was like, I love it. I love it. You do
So,
you.
so let me ask you this. So there's a lot of content writers, there's a lot of graphic designers, there's a lot of web designers, there's a lot of us, there's a lot of coaches, there's a lot of us doing similar things. So do you believe that everyone has we are all able to differentiate ourselves in a market where maybe it feels like everybody is doing what we're doing through this method?
1000%, yes. I work a lot with coaches, and so I know from that alone that like everyone has a unique story, and no two brands, authentic brands, are the same.
Mm-hmm.
I say that you've really discovered your authentic brand when you can imagine imagine or be standing in a room of your industry or your competitors, and feel no concern or competition.
I like that. So it's like self-discovery to help overcome that feeling of competition and comparison.
It's really about, like, yes, I do branding and marketing, but it's really about why do I do it? It's shifting. Why do I use the word harmony so much? It's shifting the energy. It's shifting the mindset about marketing. Like, why should we accept that it's hard and continuous and all these other things that we hear? Why can't it just flow naturally from us into our right someone's?
It sounds amazing. All right. So I know that you have a webinar coming up that you wanted to share about. And why don't you talk about what that is and like what people can walk away with in that webinar? Because it goes deeper into all of these topics.
Exactly. Yeah. So I have a webinar tomorrow. It's on meaningful marketing, and it's all about aligning and finding your right someone, your strongest connections. So yes, this will build further on this. If you want to explore your authenticity even further, I call that your spark. So it's about discovering that spark inside of you. It's about finding out the best leads for you, because it's not just ideal clients. I say there's a difference between ideal clients and right someone's, and we'll get into that. And it's also about how to actually make those stronger connections, like what makes someone want to stay by your fire.
I like it. Oh, it sounds exciting. So what time is the webinar? And I know you're going to put a link in the comments after we're done. So you have to go back into the Facebook group and just put that in there for everyone. But why don't you tell us like what time it is and how people can find your website and connect with you if they're interested in following and learning more?
Yeah, so the webinar is at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And you can go to my website. It's inflectionpointcomms, COMMS.com. And that's for communications. You go there, there's an events calendar, and you can register to attend, and it's not too late. And you can also connect with me on Instagram and LinkedIn. I'm very active, YouTube as well, at Authentic Brand Strategist.
Awesome. And thanks, everyone. I saw Angela here, Pam, Karen. There's a couple people that I didn't see their names, but they left really nice, cheery comments. So
thank you.
Thank you for joining us. And thank you, Catherine. This was great. And I love the concept of shifting that question in 2 different ways. So
thank you so much.
and if anyone has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and Catherine will, I'm going to just volunteer you. She will answer your questions in the chat after we're done. So
yeah, I'll be right there.
Thanks. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.